The information discussed on Talkin Money with Jeff Tarbell is believed to be from reliable sources. However, no responsibility is assumed for inaccuracies. No statement made on this broadcast should be construed as a specific recommendation of a particular investment product. Views expressed are those of the speakers and do not necessarily represent those of CBS Radio. Use only as directed.
Smiles, everyone. Smiles. And prepare yourself for...
Show me the money!
Ladies and gentlemen, the radio broadcast experience designed to keep your wallet in top condition. It's Talkin Money with Jeff Tarbell.
Talkin Money. Talkin Money. More money, more money, more money.
And now entering the studio, your guru for fiscal fitness, Jeff Tarbell.
Right. How you doing? How's getting doing?
Good morning.
We got our. We were in yesterday to get our mobile broadcast unit all detuned and tuned up, and Chris, I found out that basically you screwed the whole thing up, and it's all your fault. So we were able to make that determination, and we moved on with our day. So, how you doing? I've got one boatload of. I don't know what's going on this week. I never collect this much stuff in 1 week. There's no way we're going to be able to do all this in 2 hours today. So let's just forget it and go home and get the weekend started. We start every Saturday, when I think about it, with the 30 seconds from the mind of Chris Verlade. It's hard for me to remember that, Chris, when I'm on the road because I'm just worried that the equipment's going to work. You're going to have to now that little electrical charge you set up to my finger where you hit the button and it gets me like that. That one you have to use a little bit more often. But what's on your mind this week, there, big boy?
Well, everyone knows that my favorite sport is boxing, and we have the pound-for-pound best fighter in the game right now, Floyd Mayweather Jr., going to jail.
Ching, ching.
Well, here's a problem that I have. A lot of people are saying, like, oh, he's a good guy because he pled no contest, so he wouldn't have to see his parents fighting and bickering about this. I don't know about you, Jeff, but I would not go to jail just so my kids didn't hear bad words said about their mother. I think I would fight it, unless I did it, and then I would say, you know what? I'm going to be the bigger man and go to jail for 90 days, for 3 months. So everyone just calm down about Mayweather. I don't think he's that good of a guy. And I think his punishment should have to be that he should fight Manny Pacquiao.
That's right. Get his head beat in, huh?
I heard there was rumors going around that he already did get in a fight in jail, but then it got stopped because he wanted more than 50% of the cigarettes being offered.
Okay. That's Chris Verlade. This is Talkin Money, 339-1140.
That's something that I got from Twitter, just so you know.
Their Twitter joke, 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. You can text us at 441140. We are in the studio today, hence why it sounds so good, and we're not cracking up, and there's not motorcycles behind us. This is big weekend for the graduates, and just drove by the high school coming out here today. They're already stacking up there to get their seats, at least out in the Grand Bay area. I'm not sure if everybody graduates this weekend.
Yeah, I think this weekend next.
This microphone sounds a lot better than it used to. Maybe
they upgraded something here.
Did they?
This is
Maybe
high quality.
They turned the power on. I don't know what's going on. Did they do something here, Chris? This sounds different.
I think they're doing something every day. So
okay. They got a new set of squirrels.
They didn't fix it. It's just not messed up yet.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So this is how it should be. Looks like this is also Vince's Golf Talk. Vince's. Is this his anniversary weekend too? Jeez, a lot of things going on. So happy anniversary, Vince. I do want to say a quick congratulations. I have a 18-year-old niece who is graduating today, and she has been. This is my niece who had leukemia when she was 3. So to say that she has had one hell, and that's capital HELL, one hell of a hard time throughout her life is a understatement, and I almost used a bad word there. So I am extremely proud of her. Without going into too much detail, let me just say that when you are 3 and 4 years old and your body's pumped full of chemicals to kill off one disease, it does a lot of other damage as well, and it makes it very, very difficult to recover from that. And so she's done remarkably well. And so her name is Haley, and she's graduating today, so I'm very, very proud of her and very inspired by her because it has not been an easy path.
That's awesome.
For sure. She's been through more stuff before she was 5 than I've been in the last 45 years. So. And there's a lot of you out there who have family members who dealt with a lot of the same issues in leukemia and cancer diseases. So congratulations to all of you that are knock that thing back and working through it. So we'll move on today. And as I mentioned, I've got I don't know what's going on. There's been
a lot of paper over there.
I got a lot of stuff. How about if I just spread it out and you guys can all come in and pick out what you want? And there's just I've got a whole stack of mortgage stuff. And the market this week is freaking out. It just you always hear the sell in May and go away, and that's kind of one of the rhymes everybody seems to remember. And that might have been a good idea had you sold right around May 1st, because the market has just taken one big dump. And if you're buying bonds, are on the absolute skyrocket because everybody's moving their money over to make nothing, as opposed to a little bit of
turmoil out there in the world.
Yeah, as opposed to losing something. So we can talk about that. I've got some other fallout from Facebook, and you can now start betting on whether Facebook will increase or decrease, and that's called a put or a call. So now you can do options on what we call, if you're bullish on something or bullish on Facebook, you think the price will go up, you can do what's called a call. And if you're bearish, which means you think that the price will go down, you can do a put. And so this week, to give you an idea what the market thinks of Facebook's future, and this is only talking about their future stock price now. It doesn't mean that these are people who think the company will do bad overall. This is just people who think in a short-term window, the stock will either go up or down. And 20.3 million shares were puts, which means basically they thought the stock value will continue to go down. And 16.2 million shares were bullish, and they opted to do what's called a call. And so they're a little bit weighed toward the more price decrease on the Facebook side, and that's what the market is telling us. And Facebook, which started out at a $104 billion value when it came out, is down now to a measly, partially $79 billion. They've lost I don't know if I could wake up every morning and I guess if you get enough money, it doesn't matter. But how do you wake up every day and go, man, I was worth $104? The company worth $104 billion
you can say
one day and $79 billion the next. It's that would wear on me a little bit, I guess. But anywho,
I would be fine with it.
You'd be okay.
You'd be okay.
The small $24 billion loss. You still have $79 billion, or somebody has $79 billion. This is total company value now. So they are Facebook was on as of Tuesday down to $28 a share. So anyway, the market's saying they think there's a little bit more of a decline in pricing that's out there. And I mentioned when one thing happens, other things happen behind it. The same company, Morgan Stanley, who was in charge of Facebook's IPO, is also in charge of another company's IPO, and they've decided now they're going to hold off. Yeah, you know what? I think we're good.
We're going to figure this out first.
We're cool. We're going to hang out here a little bit. And that company is Kayak. Anybody familiar with Kayak? You guys use Kayak in there? No?
Not something you paddle.
Yeah, you don't use Kayak? Kayak is a software program, basically a website for travel.
I only go to Vegas and use Southwest, so I really don't need to go anywhere else.
You don't.
A one-way man.
I don't think you can. You need to shop the Vegas one-way trips very much. But if you are someone who does a lot of travel, and I know that I use Kayak a lot, and I don't. I'm trying to think. I don't think you actually spend any money with Kayak. So that's the one thing that makes me wonder. So all the revenue is really ad revenue. So the way you use Kayak, so John and I are both avid powder chasers. So when we want to chase snow, we try to anticipate where it's going to go. So you can go on.
I think that's illegal.
That's a different powder. This ain't the 80s. That's a different powder. This is the white. Well, this is white stuff too, but a little colder. But you can go on to their site and you can just put in all these. So what I do is I just put in different ski destinations and then you can just say, look, I'll go anytime. Either daily or weekly, you'll get updates saying, hey, this is the best fare we found to Denver, or this Salt Lake City, or British Columbia, wherever. It'll just send you updates. But I think that it just takes you to the site of the airline or the thing. So I don't think. So I'm not sure how Kayak gets any other than just more ad revenue. And how does, so let's say I'm on their site and I see Swiss Air has got a phenomenal deal to Switzerland, and we want to go to Switzerland. So I just go to Swiss Air's site. How do they know I found them through Kayak? I didn't click the link. So I'm not sure how they get all their money other than just selling advertising links. So
that's a good question.
Yeah, and there are
works well. Kayak.
It does work. It works great for us, the consumer. I'm just not sure how they get a lot of money out of that, other than just being a resource. So if so Chris is saying Southwest does not pop up on their system. I don't think Southwest pops up on anybody's system. So obviously Southwest isn't paying them. So I don't know. It seems to me that it limits the amount of income you could make. And the reason I bring it up is now they want to do an IPO, and an IPO assumes that you're going to have, hopefully when you come public, you're going to have increasing profits and increasing money. I'm not sure where they go from here, but I'm not in the company, but I'm just looking at it from an outside and saying, would you buy Kayak's stock? And I'm thinking, well, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what their model is or what their future, thoughts are about where they're going to go. But anyway, interesting. Get a few texts that are trickling in today at 441140, and we have the phone lines open. And by the way, we're giving away, what are we doing today?
9
pair?
9 pair of IMAX tickets.
Okay, so we have 9 sets of IMAX tickets to give away today.
Looks like Dark Shadows is showing, and there's a matinee for To the Arctic 3D.
There you go. And these tickets are good through the end of the month, so that's why we're going to get them all out this weekend. And we'll take some off the text line. We'll take some off the phone line. Phone lines are open at 339-1140. Off the text line from the 916, Jeff, have you ever seen rates drop this much in 1 week? That's an interesting point. Have I ever seen rates drop this much this week in 1 week? Technically, rates didn't drop a lot this last week. What you heard about was a lot of news about rates hitting record lows and hitting, if not lifetime lows, in terms of the 10-year bond and other things too. But they were already really low. So,
right.
They may have come down an eighth. And that eighth was the eighth that triggered it to generate all the news. What's really triggering the news is that it's just kind of the movement of money. And it says, have you ever seen rates drop this much? And it depends on what rate you're talking about. That's one of the most confusing things in our industry is when you hear about rates. Well, rates drop to this, rates drop to that. A lot of times they're talking about different rates. They're talking about either the rate the 10-year bond is paying, or so it's not always mortgage rates you're hearing about. And there's a great article, I'll bring it up here later in the second hour, that talks about the mortgage business right now. Right now, there's only about 4 or 5 major players, and it may be only 4 anymore. GMEC going under or declaring bankruptcy, but there's very few major aggregators. Someone like a Wells, like a B of A used to be, Chase. Some of these banks that come to us. So our company might generate. Let's say we generate $1 billion a year in mortgages. And we sell them off, $500 million to Chase and $500 million to Wells or whatever, wherever they go. These are aggregators. So Wells does 1 of 3 mortgages in the country, but they don't physically retail them. They gain them through buying them or through their own retail. So what's happened is there's so few major players out there in the market right now that they have not had to be as competitive as you would normally see. So right now, rates really should be, and I'm talking about 30-year fixed rate mortgage rates, should be a little bit lower than they really are.
Right. And
I think what we're seeing is that the big companies have so much business anyway coming in that they're like, why give away the farm if we don't have to?
Right. If we can collect 3 7/8 versus 3 1/2, let's get 3 7/8.
Yeah. So the big games are the big banks and the big aggregators that are kind of holding their pricing up a little bit. I mean, the rates are phenomenal, so you wouldn't know the difference anyway. But the people who kind of watch the market and say, okay, where is the T-bill and where are the bonds and where are all these things and how do they relate to the actual rate on the street, are looking around and saying, these companies are making some pretty good money on the kind of the end user of these mortgages, because they don't have to cut a lot fatter deal if you want. So have I seen rates drop this much in 1 week? Oh yeah, I've seen rates come down. I think back in some parts of my career, I saw rates move 3/8 to 1/2 point in a week.
In rate, yeah, that's high.
And I've seen it go both ways in a week. So this was not a week where you look around and go, oh man, I shouldn't have locked last week. I screwed up. That isn't what it is. You're just now seeing all the news, And remember, when by the time it hits the news, it's old news in our industry. It's like
the next week or two, we're going to be inundated with all that, and everybody's going to be freaking out, and it's going to be last week's news.
Yeah, and I had someone email me this yesterday who just completed a refinance like last week, and she says, "Oh, I totally screwed up. I should have waited another week." And I said, "You're kidding yourself, right? I mean, we're at a lifetime low. Whether your rate was an eighth here or an eighth there isn't going to mean squat."
Yep.
When you look back on this down the road, I mean, you just get in and get in.
Yeah, I'd one sign on Tuesday on a purchase, call me and say, rates are so good, what do I do? Can I stop and start over? And I said, in reality, rates are an eighth better, which accounts to $18 a month.
Yeah.
Do you want to start over for $18 a month and wait 30 days to break a commitment lock? In 30 days, rates will probably be an eighth better, or an eighth worse. I mean, it's so hard to say.
And if it's a purchase, what's your seller going to say? Well, I backed out of the deal for $18. Okay, then release your $5,000 deposit to me. So that isn't going to work too well on a
purchase. Yeah, I mean, that's a cheeseburger and a soda these days, right?
Yeah, or one share of Facebook.
There you go.
We got to do a quiz question. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. We'll take... You know what, guys? We'll take two winners on this question, and we'll give them both a pair of passes to the IMAX Sacramento movie theater downtown there. What do you got there, Johnny?
Which city? There's a city out there looking to ban sugary drinks greater than 16 ounces. Therefore, you cannot buy a sugary drink, iced tea, soda, etc., that greater than 16 ounces.
Can I buy 10 of them?
That's what's going to probably happen.
I can
make cheeseburger and 3 16-ounce sodas.
I like a double quarter pounder and 4 diet sodas. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. You can text us at 441140. This is Talkin' Money. We'll be
right back.